2022, we headed down to San Jose to learn about the work of the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority. We wanted to check out a new preserve they just established. But their story is bigger than any single preserve. It's about connecting places to benefit wildlife and people. Big places, like the Diablo Range and the Santa Cruz Mountains. At age 30, the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority is considered a new kid among Bay Area land preservation agencies. But it's made a big difference. When its current leader, Andrea McKenzie, arrived in 2011, the Open Space Authority had 14,000 acres of natural and working lands to manage. A decade later, it has almost 30,000 acres, including Mayano Yakima, Coyote Ridge Open Space Preserve. And that's where we're headed today, to a preserve with a Chochenyo name to honor the indigenous people who've lived near here for thousands of years. It's a gateway to the Diablo Range, home to elk, eagles, badgers, and mountain lions. It's one of the last strongholds of the Bay checkerspot butterfly, and it's a great place to get some perspective on the importance of the Diablo Range.
One of my favorite perspectives from Coyote Ridge Open Space Preserve is looking west across the Coyote Valley to the foothills of the Santa Cruz Mountains, to the highest point in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And then you turn your gaze a little bit to the north, you can see San Jose, a population of 1 million people.
You turn around and you face east, and you see nothing but wildlands.
It kind of feels like you're looking back in time.
And you realize just what a priceless gem this landscape is.
Independent biologist Stuart Weiss came to the Diablo Range in 1984 to check out Coyote Ridge. He knew its serpentine soils would make it good habitat for a butterfly he'd been studying with Stanford professor Paul Ehrlich.
I had just graduated from Stanford with my bachelor's degree, and we came down here and we discovered the mother lode of bay checkerspot butterflies on the mother lode of serpentine outcrops. And I'd been in a lab that had been studying the checkerspot for decades, and it was like, oh, this is the place. We can finally do all the science, and it's been a scientific gold mine.
Soon Weiss was not only doing science, but working with conservationists to help protect Coyote Ridge and the Coyote Valley below, which is a small part of the Open Space Authority's namesake, the Santa Clara Valley.
The big green field right there, that's where tandem computers in the 80s wanted to develop. Then Coyote Valley Research Park, which was going to be Cisco's world headquarters, managed to fight all of those off, and then a city the size of Mountain View down in Coyote Valley in the mid-2000s. They put out their draft EIR and we buried it under like 1,000 pages of substantive comments. So they said, oh, okay, I think we're going to go back and redo it. Then the economy collapsed. And then like all the momentum built to conserve it instead of develop it.
Coyote Valley is one of the last remaining undeveloped valley floors in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's where the 1,000 square mile Santa Cruz Mountains and the 5,500 square mile Diablo Range come closest together. But development has increasingly isolated species in the two ranges, with worrisome results. Some of the estimated 60 mountain lions left in the Santa Cruz Mountains are already showing signs of inbreeding in the form of kinked tails passed from one generation to the next in a small, isolated population. Stronger connections between the two ranges would allow genes to be exchanged between two populations and keep them both healthier. And wildlife of all kinds would have more options in times of fire and drought. They could move around and find safe, suitable habitats. That makes Coyote Valley a key puzzle piece on the California conservation map. Together, the two ranges could provide more than 4.5 million acres of wildlife habitat, an area bigger than any national park in the lower 48.
We realized that that narrowest point there, that big meadow in Coyote Valley, is the wildlife highway right there. Mountain ranges are so close here, they can almost kiss.
The Open Space Authority's work is also protecting San Jose, the 12th largest city in the country, from floods, fires, and other changes related to climate.
Timing is everything. In 2017, the biggest floods to hit downtown San Jose in 100 years hit on Coyote Creek. That allowed us to piggyback on that story and on climate change and on the wildfires that came from both the Santa Cruz side and the Diablo side, and just to say, hey people, the time is now.
The preservation of all these regional parks along the edges of cities saved the East Bay and the South Bay from thousands of structures being burned and tens of thousands of residents being affected, because we've created an effective buffer between the highly flammable stuff and the residential areas.
With great views of the Diablo Range, Coyote Valley, and the Santa Cruz Mountains, Mayan-Oyakma, Coyote Ridge Open Space Preserve, is just a 20-minute drive from downtown San Jose. It can be spectacular during wildflower season, offering a chance to see rare plants like fragrant fritillaries and the primary host plant for the bay checkerspot butterfly, dwarf plantain, not to mention the butterflies themselves. The preserve offers a 5-mile loop that includes part of the Bay Area Ridge Trail. Almost all of the loop lies within a habitat protection area aimed at balancing human activities with the needs of plants and wildlife. A pass designed to educate the public about the area's sensitive species is required. In certain months, the preserve opens at 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. to give butterflies time to warm their wings before visitors arrive, to avoid trampling and other disturbance. Consult the Open Space Authority website to get a pass and see days and hours when the preserve is open. You'll need to enter with care, but that's only fitting for a place with so many treasures.